efforts that your group engages in is, as far as educating parents and students in Nebraska?
Yes, we have a program that we work very, very hard on, and parents are definitely beginning to come around, and it's called the Safe Homes Program. Hopefully you have heard about it. And basically what the Safe Homes Program does is empower parents, you might say, to put themselves back in charge in their family. It is not a program that teaches parents to be parents, because I believe firmly, as do the board of directors and the hardworking people of PAM, that parents do know how to be parents. I think there's been a lot of hype that maybe has taken our credibility and our influence as parents away from us. And once parents begin to understand, I am capable, I am knowledgeable, and I am capable of keeping my child from using alcohol and other drugs, they're going to find out that many of the family situations, many of the educational situations, many of the social problems that we're faced with today are going to begin to subside. And we work very closely with the Department of Education, hoping to strive in a helpful manner to meet that year 2000 improvement in education for all of our youngsters in Nebraska and in fact throughout the country.
Mr. Herr, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about what sort of efforts your group engages in. But first of all, we do have our first call this evening. Dan from Lincoln, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello. I appreciate what Jack has to say about the traditional uses of the plant. I understand that it's complicated because of the abuse that a lot of drugs are put to by some people and problems that have had. But even if marijuana were not completely decriminalized, which I think wouldn't be that bad, I think drug education is more complicated and more important than and shouldn't be oversimplified as it seems to be with the Just Say No program. Anyway, but aside from the drug issue, the hemp plant I know was grown during World War II for its use as fiber, and it's got other uses that could be commercially viable or feasible if it was allowed by permit, like it was during the war. Even when it was illegal to smoke, it was allowed to be grown, and it seems to me that could still be done.
Do you have a question for our guests?
Well, I'm sorry. That was just an opinion, I guess.
Oh, that's fine. Well, you're certainly free to express it. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just we are running short on time.
Okay, well, I'm done.
Okay, well, thank you. Would you like to comment on that, Mr. Herrera?
Well, I just want to say that as the #1 paper source on Earth, and without any doubt of being, the United States Department of Agriculture did these studies, as the #1 paper source without ever cutting down another tree, and to grow here in Nebraska and Iowa and Kansas and Illinois and Indiana, would make the earth completely viable to return all the carbon dioxide excess, the 2 to 9 degrees greenhouse effect increase in temperature we're going to have over the next 50 to 75 years, back to theoretically normal, because we leave the trees in the ground. There's nothing you can build on a house or run any car that you can't run better and cheaper and natural on cannabis. And for people to just outlaw cannabis for any reason whatsoever is the act of a lemming and a lemming parent. And the people who act in this way, I don't care what government mouths come out of, or government sayings come out of it, you cannot justify taking the best paper, fuel, fiber, medicine off the face of the earth. And this lady didn't talk about medicine respectfully. I respect that she should read all these studies like I have read all these studies, and I know she hasn't read them, because if she had, she'd see it's the safest therapeutically active substance known to mankind for asthma, glaucoma, chemotherapy, anorexia, multiple sclerosis. I mean, are you just saying the heck with all that, with that information, that nobody's ever died from marijuana except from the lack of it, that people live longer that use it than people that don't live 8 to 24 years longer than people we let use alcohol and tobacco? Now, what kind of idiot system would I follow if I gave my children your advice, ma'am?
Well, I'd like to ask you, how do you account for those people who have been killed in boating accidents or crashes, whatever, vehicle, etc.?
Well, I would love to answer. Look, throughout history and throughout all the studies of the '69, through the cancer studies, through all the American studies, without refutation that I know of, and through hundreds of these studies, that people drove safer when they were driving on pot than those people that were doing no drugs at all, and they were driving 100 times safer than people on alcohol. They missed their freeway exits more often, I'm told, but that's about it. And instead of going like this, wow, I missed my freeway exit, they went, wow, and went off at the next exit. That's about the only negative thing, is people weren't willing to kill three lanes over to get off their freeway in time. But ma'am, they drove safer and better than people that did no drugs at all. And that's the facts. And if you go out and survey a college audience and ask them to raise their hands, how many people have had accidents straight, how many people have accidents stoned, and how many people have smoked marijuana, and how many people have ever had an accident with marijuana, you would find virtually to none, to one or two, but less than 1% of their hands would be up in the air. I've done this survey hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. All your information is skewed.
But on the other hand, Mr. Herrera, if you go into a treatment center that houses and is treating adolescent patients, they will tell you that all that you have just said is nothing but hype.
They will tell you, I don't know what I've seen in treatment centers of little kids that their parents have beat up mentally to go in and say anything they can to get out of that treatment center and to do the worst disservice to these kids. Listen. This is a drug I gave my child when he was 10 years old, and he had asthma in 1973, and I found out the asthma abilities of it. And I saw my son stop full-blown asthma attacks. I used to take him to the hospital and give him theophylline in 1 second. I didn't smoke till I was 30 years old, and after I didn't do anything illegal until I was 30 years old. And after I found out the ridiculousness of these laws, I came out for him, and I tell you, there's never been anybody that's refuted a single word that I've said in 18 years, and I have a $10,000 bet you can't either for your organization.
I'm going to break in here because we are running out of time. We do have a caller on the line. Caller Eric from Lincoln, if you can make your point in about 30 seconds. Go ahead, please.
I'd love to, thank you. Other than medical arguments, which are always difficult to substantiate and prove, I'd like to come out in favor of legalizing marijuana. Not necessarily altogether for scientific reasons, but I would question Mrs. Kurtz, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. Basically, do you really believe that children would have less access to marijuana while it's illegal? My experience has been, even as a youngster, that marijuana was very accessible as an illegal drug. As a regulated drug, a legal regulated drug, I think would be far less accessible.
Caller, I'm afraid I have to cut you off here. Mrs. Kurtz, I'm going to give you the one last word here. I have a survey that says that marijuana use and cocaine use are declining among high school students. How do you view that?
It's very, very slight, to be truthful. And I would just like to throw in one thing. As far as legalization of drugs is concerned, it would put the United States in direct violation of international treaty.
Well, that's a stupid treaty that we entered in. We became the second.
Let her finish, please.
We happen to have it, and if we do legalize drugs, it would definitely result in more people experimenting with drugs, and in particularly more children, yes, having easily accessibility. Look at alcohol, look at tobacco. There's your answer.
Mr. Kurtz, I'm going to give you the last word here. If you could just tell us, I'm sorry, Mr. Herrera, if you could tell us briefly what events you've got coming up here, and then we are just about out of time.
Okay, we'll be here a week from this Friday on the 11th, and we'll be at the Broyhill Fountain from noon to probably 1:30, 2 o'clock, and at 14th and S Street, and then we'll march to the Capitol at 2 p.m., and we'll be there until about 5:30, and then there'll be a benefit concert Friday night, October 11th, and it'll be 333 North 14th Street, and it'll be at 6 p.m., and we'll have a lot of bands, and we'll be speaking all day, and we'll be allowing Ms. Kurtz, if you want to come up and refute any of the information, feel more than welcome. If you can't refute it, though, you should get off your position.
I will bring my entourage.
All right, that's all the time we have.